let us welcome Edmund Chaw with 4 times MDRT.
Hello, my fellow MDRT and MDRT aspirants. My name is Edmund Chaw. Once again, welcome to Malaysia MDRT Day and welcome to the family. I believe all of us have heard stories and testimonials from many MDRTs wanting to achieve this global recognition on the first day they started their career in insurance. On the first day they started coming into the business, they already want to achieve their MDRT, and how they had the burning passion in them to be the cream of the crop. Now, it's not wrong to have all your passions and all your dreams, but to be honest, I never did. I never did put MDRT as my personal goal. All I wanted was money, and loads of money. That is good enough for me. I actually didn't even know how to calculate my commission. All I know was selling insurance can really make you good money if you are really, really hardworking and you put in that extra effort. But now, after being in the industry for so many years, I realized I really wanted something more. I needed something more. What did I want? I wanted more balance. I wanted to be more than just a salesman. I wanted satisfaction and recognition. And most importantly, I needed stability and sustainability. I remember there was a time back in 2016 when I qualified for the top 90 of my company, right? My company actually sent us over to Santorini for a trip, for a qualifiers trip. And what happened there really, I remember it until today. What happened there, I was actually hanging out with a group of qualifiers, right? And I was listening to their conversation, and all they were talking about is, last year, where did they go? This year, wow, our company is sending us to Santorini. We are here in Santorini, we are enjoying ourselves. Oh, next year, I don't know, is it going to be London? I don't know, is it going to be Zurich? I don't know, is it going to be Berlin? If we go to London, what are we going to buy? What are we going to shop and all that kind of things. So it really strikes me, this group of people, right? They are already talking about next year. They are already talking about qualifying for this trip next year. They are already talking about qualifying for this trip the year after. And they are also discussing about their previous experience, right? Some of them are from different states. And these are the trips where they get together, right? And they are already, they are talking about, hey, last year what happened? This year what happened? Next year, where are we going to go? What are we going to buy? So it really struck me. Why are these people so confident that they can qualify year after year? What is the secret that they have? Is it so easy? Or, what is it that they have that I don't? So I'm beginning to question myself. I'm beginning to ask myself a lot of different questions around my head. So these are the few questions that I started to ask myself. What makes an MDRT so different? How much does an MDRT make? And how does a person qualify for MDRT year after year? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And if you notice, right, all of us are from different companies, and if you notice, you look at your MDRT board, most of the companies, right, it's always the same faces year after year. It's always the same few people. The producers are always the producers. What is their secret? Have you ever asked yourself this? What do they know that you don't? And the last question, you need to really put your hands on your chest and ask yourself this. Can I be MDRT? That is a very, very important question to ask yourself. So I'm beginning to understand the reason why I needed to be MDRT. It's just not selling and selling and selling and selling. I needed to be MDRT. So today, what am I going to share with you? Today, I'm going to share with you the changes I made to myself And you can use these habits too, right? I'm going to focus on only 4 main habits that you can practice straight away after this session. And after every habit, this is the good thing. I'm going to share with you an action plan. And this action plan, you can immediately use it. You can immediately turn this idea, whatever you heard from me today, into action. So what are these 4 things? It's very easy to remember. Don't worry. Let me get started. I personalize MDRT for myself. And I broke it down into 4 different habits. And these 4 different habits, as I said, is very easy to remember. Why? Because it's M, D, R, and T. So it's just MDRT, right? If you can master this MDRT, you will be MDRT. So let's begin. I hope you're excited. I'm excited. M starts for me. M starts for me, right? It stands for me. We need to know and understand ourselves inside out before we can strategize or before we can even think to be MDRT and how to achieve your goal. You need to know yourself. M is for me. Ask yourself, who are you? What kind of person are you? Some of you are really good at what you do, and some of you are really super hardworking. I can tell you, I'm definitely not the hardworking type. I always tend to find the easy way to do things. So some people, when they go for a sales call or when they go for an appointment, the way they look, their appearances alone, you already guarantees the sale. Clients are so comfortable with that. Again, that's not me. I don't have a very friendly face, if you notice, right? I'm quite garang one in a way, right? They say fierce. I'm very fierce looking, right? So we need to know ourselves because different people have different strategies and different people have different things that they can use to their advantage. Some things can be changed and some can't. So you got to live with it. Like my face, I can't change it. So I got to live with it. We've got to take ownership and we've got to accept and move on. So you have to fully understand what your M stands for. And you got to start to visualize who you want to become. That is actually very important, right? A lot of life planners out there stop at understanding me. They know that they need to change this and they know that they need to change that. For example, they're always not on time. They always get up late. They don't have enough appointments, so on and so forth. But if you visualize the me that you want to be, then the process will take place. And what process is this? This process is called change. This process is what makes you from the me now to the me you want to become. This is a process of change. So I remember a very famous Hollywood superstar said this. His name is Matthew McConaughey. He gave a speech and he said, "My hero, it is always me 10 years from now." That is your hero. And after 10 years, when somebody come and ask you again, who is your hero? Your hero will be, again, you, 10 years from now. That way you will keep improving. You will never stop changing because you're always chasing your hero. And who is your hero? It's you. So start with the end in mind. Understand the me and then chase for it. Change for it. Next, we're going to look at the people we hang out around. Look at the people that we are spending most of our time with. The people around us, the people closest to us. Who are they? Because I remember there was one MDRT that gave me a very good advice. He asked me, "Edmund, if you are the richest person in the group of people you hang out with, you're in the wrong business. You cannot be the richest. You have to be one of the poorest. because you want to expand your market. So again, to know who you're going to hang out with, you need to understand you, me, the M, right? It all starts with M. So what's the action plan? After this session, I want you to go for coffee with yourself. Okay? Be true to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. And list down a few questions and start asking yourself. Know yourself and know your pain and pleasure. You'll be surprised how much you actually know yourself. You might not even know yourself, right? Okay, so moving on to the second habit. The second habit, as I said, starts with a D. It is the desire. The word itself speaks a lot of volume. The word itself is a very strong word, right? If you look around and you speak to the MDRTs around, like this time is virtual. If you are able to go for a physical meeting, go and meet the MDRTs around you and ask them. They have one thing in common. That is, their desire is very strong. They are passionate about what they do, and they speak with conviction. Because their passion is filled with desire, and they work hard for something that they want to chase. Working hard for something that they love. With the desire, they will go the extra mile. With the desire, they will definitely cross the finish line. And I believe many of us have heard this term. What's your why? Knowing your why is very, very important. We might know our why, but is our why strong enough? If our why is not strong enough, that is not the main why. That is not the why that you want. It has to be a why that will hurt you. For me, it's always my family. Giving them a better life and making sure they are comfortable and happy. And I found my answer in MDRT. Achieving it consecutively gave me the income to provide for my family. The whole person concept from MDRT teaches me how to balance my work and my life and yet be productive. So you've got to find this thing. Find the why, the desire. Then the passion will flow, right? Find the why and MDRT will not be so hard to achieve. Find the why and then the desire will help you change the me inside you. Change to be a better me, right? Do not take motivation as your why. Motivation helps you kickstart. Your why is the one that helps you keep on going. Your why is the one that helps you cross the finish line. That is your desire. That is the desire that we need to find. Then we can go to the finish line and achieve what we set out to do. All right? So that is D, desire. So what is the action plan? All right. The action plan is, you already know yourself, right? You have sat down, coffee with yourself, you have asked yourself a few questions, and you have understand yourself. Now, you need to find the why. What is the one thing that you cannot live without? It can be family. It might be financial freedom. For some of you who are single, who likes shopping, right? It can be traveling. It can be recognition. It can be so many things. But make sure the why that you wrote down, the why that you tell yourself, has to move you so much that you have the conviction, right? And without it, it will hurt you. This is the why that we want to look for. Try to just have one, but some people have more than one. Try to stick to a maximum of 2. Because if you have too many whys, you might not know where to focus on. All right? So now, the next letter. What is the next letter? We have M, we have D, R. The next letter is R. So what is R? R is a very, very important habit which will determine our strategy. I love football, right? And now, during this time of recording, it's Euros, right? I'm a football lover. And I support the best teams in the world, right? And of course, currently, the best team is Liverpool FC. I think some of you might not agree with me. Okay? I hope I don't open a can of worms. Now, teams aside, if you love sports, you will notice one thing in common, whether it's basketball, F1, golf, football, or whatever sports that you like. badminton. They have one thing in common. If you notice, all kinds of sports, they are very, very, very critical about data. They are very critical about data. Let's take the English Premier League for an example. Those of you who actually watch football, those of you who actually like football, I believe you watch the English Premier League. Let's take it as an example, right? If you watch the game and if you notice, the commentators, they always have so many things to comment about the game, and they have all the data at their fingertips. What kind of data are we talking about? We are not talking about commenting like, Mane got the ball and Mane is going to pass to Salah and Salah is going to pass. It's not that kind of things. We're not talking about commenting on the game. I'm talking about the data that they have. It is so detailed, right? They can tell you how many games each players have played, how many kilometers each players have covered in that particular game, how many minutes on average each player take to score a goal, how many minutes they went without scoring a goal, how many passes have they completed, how many passes that were unsuccessful, how many attempts on goals, how many attempts off target, and how many shots, what are the possession like, and how many players were injured previously. They have all this data. The list can go on and on, right? We can go all day and we still have enough data for just one game. So what does this tell us? This tells us that detailing and breaking down the data and studying all the facts and figures are actually very important to success. So how many of you agree with me that data is important? That brings us to our R. I haven't told you R yet. R is recording. Every success and failure have their reasons. Without data, we will not know what we did right or what we did wrong. So we need recording. To be an MDRT, what is the first data we need to know? Yes, you are right. The first data we all need to know is how to qualify. What is the requirements? Right? There's your FYP qualifications. So that is a requirement. That is a data. We need data, right? And the data doesn't move the whole year. It is our recording and our day-to-day data that will bring us closer to MDRT, right? So without recording, do you think or do you know how far you're short? How much you need to do? How much more? You will not know. So recording is very important. So what do we record? Let me run through 10 questions with you. Whoever or wherever you are, take out a piece of paper right now and write down the exact numbers. Don't take too long to think, right? It's just a quick exercise. Write down the first thing that comes into your mind. All right? So get a paper ready, get a pen ready. Let's start this. Are we ready? Let's do a record on last week's data, just a week previously, right? First question, how many calls did you make? Second question, from those calls, how many appointments did you manage to make? Third question, out of all the appointments, how many are for daytime and how many are for nighttime? How many of those appointments are new prospects and how many are old prospects? How many opening appointments? How many servicing appointments? How many open cases? How much FYP closed? How much FYP open? How many new referrals did you get? And how many new friends did you make? Now, let's go to the moment of truth. How many of you have all the answers to the questions I just asked just now? Be truthful to yourself. Know your me. Be truthful to yourself. Most of us don't have all the answers. Why? Because we don't practice recording. We don't practice writing it down or keying it in your smartphone. You know, last time when I just started using a smartphone and I asked a lot of questions, right? My friend always tell me this. The phone is very smart, but the user not very smart, right? So all of us have a smartphone. Let's start doing some recording. Some of you might be asking or wondering why I asked whether the appointments are day or night. Remember, we spoke about the me, understanding yourself. If you're not a morning person, but all your appointments are in the morning, do you think you can perform at your best? Is it better to start preparing yourself and then have the appointments later, after your lunch, after you kickstart, after you do some preparations to yourself? So now you see the connection, the M, the D, and the R, right? Let me give you another example. If I'm selling chicken rice, right? I cut my chicken every day, and my goal is to sell 1,000 chicken rice a year. I need to know exactly how many chicken I need to sell a day, right? So let's dive deeper into it. I also need to know how many chickens I need to produce the amount of chicken rice that I need to sell. And how many of my customers are actually repeat customers, how many are new customers, and how I'm going to get those customers, and so on and so forth. So that is the strength of recording. Now back to our goal. Our goal is MDRT. By when do you want to achieve MDRT? That is totally up to you. Then you need to break down how many appointments you need to have and what is the FYP you need to open in order to close, right? I have life planners telling me, boss, I want to close 100,000 this week. I said, okay, next week. I asked him, did you close 100,000 last week? No, I didn't, boss. Let me look at all your appointments. I calculate each of the opening appointments. You only open 50,000. If every 100% comes in, it is still not 100,000. But you said you want to close 100,000. It doesn't make sense. If you want to close 100,000, you need to open 200,000-300,000 because your closing ratio is 30%, 40%. It's not 100%. So that's why data is so important. Data is the one that actually tells you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. So recording is crucial to your MDRT. Recording is crucial to any business. Recording is crucial for you to record down your day-to-day activity. What time did you wake up? What time did you sleep? How many appointments did you have? It can be very nitty-gritty stuff, but it makes a difference. So the action plan for you, for R, is to develop a template to record your daily activities and make sure it consists of data relevant to your desired outcome. It can be digital format or it can be, just pen and paper, but make sure it is not loose papers. Get a book, right? So at least you can look back at your previous months and your previous weeks, okay? Whichever you're comfortable with. Be as detailed as you can, right? So that is your action plan. So now you have 3 action plans to do. Make sure you do it, okay? Let's move on. M, D, R, and T for the last letter. Who can tell me what the last letter stands for? This is going to be interesting, okay? It stands for something so valuable that if we lose it, we cannot get it back. So now you get the hint, right? You guessed it right. T is for time. Everyone has the same amount of time. 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days and 52 weeks in a year. If I were to put you next to a person who is identical to you in terms of your looks, your face, right? The knowledge that you know, the background, the network that you have, and the experiences. If I were to put you next to someone exactly identical, what will differentiate the results between you and the other person? Do you know? The differentiation factor will come down to who can manage his or her time better. Do you agree? The better you are at managing your time, the more productive you become. I'm not going to go into productivity. I'm just going to go into certain things that you can practice straight away. So I give you an example. You go past a restaurant and it states at the entrance, right? Open daily, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is their operation hours. The next day you go for breakfast at 10 a.m. and when you arrive, they are not open. Right? How will you feel? You'll feel angry, right? You feel that, hey, how come your sign put 9 to 6 and now at 10 o'clock not yet open one? You feel agitated. So now let me ask all of you these questions. We are all entrepreneurs here, running our own business. So what is your operation hours? Do you actually have one? Do you know? Or is it on a day-to-day basis? Today I wake up early, I start my day early. Tomorrow I feel a bit tired. I think don't want lah, I feel a bit tired. I open later a bit. Is it that? So relating back to our desire, how bad do we want it? How much do we want it? Rain or shine, we need to get up and hustle. We need to get up and work. So knowing your time, knowing how you manage your time is so important, especially now when we are all working from home. Our bed is on our right. Our fridge is on our left. Our TV is in front of us. How to work? I also don't know. So proper time management. Have a schedule, right? So now, going in a little bit about productivity. Now 2 restaurants, right? We have 2 restaurants. An example. Kedai A and Kedai B. Both super good business. Both have the same menu, same price, same number of tables. Both have identical operation hours, 9 to 6. And they open really 9 to 6, right? So whenever there's an empty table, it will be snapped up immediately. Both restaurants are the same, Kedai A and Kedai B. So what's the difference? Kedai B has 2 requirements for each table. A maximum dining time of 1 hour, and you have to share your tables if it's not fully used up. Whereas Kedai A don't have any regulations. The customer can just sit there for as long as they like without any restriction. So which Kedai do you think will be more productive? And do you think will make more money? A or B? You are absolutely right. Kedai B, because they have a strategy to maximize their time usage, right? So using the same analogy, how are we using our time? Do we set a maximum time for our appointments, or do we just go with the flow? So with data, you see recording, it relates back to recording. With data, you can know this. With data, with recording, you can see whether you are busy or you are productive. So the next thing I want to talk about time is waiting time. I used to be very bad at time management and I'm hardly punctual. So I know I needed to change that. So in order to change that, I set my watch a little bit faster than the actual time. So I will reach my appointments 30 minutes before the appointment, right? And that 30 minutes is called the waiting time. So what do you do with your waiting time? I hate to wait for people. So what I do, I make sure in that 30 minutes waiting time, I get to know one new friend. How do I do it? If I'm in a restaurant, I speak to the waiter or the manager. If I'm in a mall, I speak to those push cart vendors or salespeople, credit card booth, or so on and so forth. If I'm at my client's office, I go to his colleagues or his employees. It can be anyone. But make sure you have one new friend every time you wait for someone. So let's go to the action plan. There's 2 action plans for time. One is use a stopwatch on your smartphone. Every time you sit for an appointment and you start a sales call, click. Start the stopwatch. Right? Start the stopwatch. Every time you finish and you leave an appointment, stop it. At the end of the week, look back at your stopwatch and you tell yourself, how many hours have you been working for 1 week? Then you will know how much time you have wasted. So that is the stopwatch challenge, right? That is the action plan for time. The second action plan is make your waiting time useful. I want you to set a goal to know 3 new friends a week from your waiting time. And in 1 month, you will have 12 new prospects. So that is how you use your waiting time. Set a simple goal. So these are your action plans. All right. So there you have it, MDRT. With that, I will summarize my sharing today, my MDRT habits. Me is M, D is for desire, R for recording, T for time. Thanks again for the opportunity, and please start on the action plan. You can look back at this video and see the action plans again and listen again and start using it. I want to leave you with a quote. This quote says, if you are doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result, what is it called? It is called insanity. So my question now to you is, are you insane? That's all from me. My name is Edmund Chaw. Have a great day. Stay focused and stay safe. Thank you.